Hello friends, Bethany Colleen here. It's been a little bit since I posted my last video, and so I wanted to pop in today and say hello and share one of the paintings that I made in February. I will be having at least another 4 or 5 time-lapse videos coming out very shortly over some paintings that I made that I was preparing for an art show, and I will tell you all about that in my next video. But today I wanted to focus on a diagnosis that I received in February that was very eye-opening and a relief to me. So let's start with that. Since I began to self-isolate in the beginning of this pandemic, all the way back in 2020, I have had mass amounts of time by myself. This led to a journey of self-introspect, and I started to re-notice some very rigid tendencies I had and my extreme sensitivity to change. And so I decided on a suspicion to go and have some official testing done, and it turns out my judgment was in fact correct, and at the age of 32, I have been diagnosed as autistic. And I know this may not seem like a positive to some, but for me, it is an absolute relief. I finally can understand why I think the way that I do. I can understand there's nothing wrong or shameful with how I think or how I've always felt. It's just different than the neuronormal. My whole life, I really felt like that I was a step behind someone else, everyone else. And it was like everyone was born with a set of instructions on how to be human, and I could only play catch up because my only tool was to watch and mimic others. And I really did become a master at mimicking whatever the desired behavior was that was expected for me to fit in. And this usually meant I was a great employee, I was a great friend, but this mirroring would literally exhaust me and stifle me because I spent my entire day catering my personality to pleasing whomever I was around. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about what led me to believe that I was on the autism spectrum and what it means to me. So I've had very rigid tendencies with certain things, and I've not really understood why. I know that, I know emotions have always been very hard for me to recognize and allow myself to feel, and they would sneak up on me until they would just kind of come out all at once in like a huff. And like I had said earlier, is like I would mirror everyone. And so this led to a lack of individuality for a while, where I was just picking up tendencies from everyone else and trying to learn what it meant to be a human. And for the longest time, I thought there was an exact right and wrong way to do everything. I didn't recognize there is opinions. And that opinions are very individual and based on what you think as a person. And I honestly thought that there was, this is the right way, this is the wrong way, everything has a rule, and it just didn't make sense to me why, you know, some people would say this and some people that, and it's because it was an opinion. Another reason why I started to believe that I was on the spectrum was my extreme drive towards special interests. Growing up, I was completely obsessed with tigers, and then I was obsessed with Egyptology, and then I was obsessed with the Titanic. And not saying that this obsession was bad. In fact, I learned a lot, and I have no qualms about having passions about things, but my passion was a little bit more than my peers' passions for things. I also have had, for pretty much my entire life, of an avoidance and sensitivity to a lot of foods, and this has led to extreme issues in my life, extreme issues, and it still leads to issues today. And I wanted to know about why certain things just instantly hit me and bring me such anxiety. And this kind of goes with what I'm painting today. Can soup bring the same anxiety of a great white coming out at you? Well, it can to me. Especially if it's tomato soup, like what I'm painting here, tomato alphabet. But I needed to know, why am I so sensitive with food things, and why do I allow food to bring such an anxiety and a fear to my life, and why haven't I been able to let this go? And I've learned now that it has a sensitivity with and I need to go about my food issues in a different way. I need to try to alleviate and work on these things in a different way than I was, because it's not I don't know how to describe it. It's not as much of like a layman's fear over things. It's an irrational fear over certain foods. I also had struggled with sleep for many, many years, and at nighttime, I'm very sensitive. I'm very regimented about how I sleep, the pillows that I use. The fan needs to be on. I need to have this. I need to have that. I can't have this. I can't have that. I can't hear you breathing. I mean, everything is, I have my patterns and my rigidity in order to feel successful at sleeping, or successful at eating, or successful at being a human. And I'm just very... very anal, I'm learning. And I always thought that it was very easygoing, but not quite. Another thing that I was recognizing was, I didn't realize, but I have been stimming for a majority of my life, but my stims weren't outwardly. They weren't the flapping of the hands. They weren't a lot of the normal quote-unquote autism stimming that you see in like little boys. My stimming was very internal. It was very quiet. I would trace the asterisk or the star symbol like that you would see on your keyboard or your phone, going every line back and forth in the certain pattern, and this would help calm me down. My stimming is mental. It's in my head in a way that not everyone sees. And it calms me down, and I have nothing wrong with stimming. I think that there's a use for it. It calms me down. That's the point of it. But recognizing these things, and I mean, there's a lot for me to learn, and there's a lot for me to recognize. But I wanted to share this video today because this is a big thing for me. It's learning about myself, and I wanted to share that. And I'm sure that I'll talk about it more in some other videos, but today I just wanted to come out and say, hey, guess what? I'm autistic. I have plenty more videos to share. I will talk to you guys soon. Love you all, and I will see you next video.